or saying Taiwo is your problem why you're not doing good because the pastor said that to you.
Well, I
Leave
think what
Taiwo
is your
alone.
problem? Taiwo
Leave
alone.
Taiwo alone. Do not do nothing to Taiwo. It's not Taiwo's fault that you're not exceeding in life. It's basically your fault. So don't believe no nonsense of anything about the world is coming to an end or any New Year's revelation that this is about to happen. Do not believe that. Only God knows everything that's going to happen in your life, the next man's life, your kids' life, your family life. No man know. No man in this world that's breathing the same air that you're breathing can tell you the same thing that you should already know.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Lost Lagosians, a podcast covering topics about Lagosians, Nigerians, and Africans in diaspora, as well as trending topics and challenges facing Africans living outside Africa. I'm your host, Brother Mike. Happy New Year to everybody. Really, really happy. It's 2022. It's a brand new year. And I've got with me my friend, Shope.
Chappé. How you guys doing now? We're just here enjoying the New Year's here in Seattle, living live, enjoying it, bringing 2022,
Yeah, making it rain.
making it rain. I don't know about making it rain, but and yes, feeling the vibe, just to communicate with everybody in Lagos, Nigeria, and all over the world.
Yes, we love you guys. Thank you for the support of the show. It's been really awesome to have just the amazing amount of love and support for the show. Thank you guys on YouTube for subscribing and for commenting and for liking. We love you all, and it's 2022. We're gonna reign in the new year in a big way.
Yeah, we're gonna bring in the new year, and we're so glad to be here right now. And 2021 is behind us, so now let's look forward in 2022. Let's get it. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. So there was this article I saw about the Ghanaian police force. They got a message out to a lot of the religious leaders and the pastors, and I'll go ahead and link the article in the show notes. Basically, it's kind of like a message to the new year prophet of doom. So we have this thing back in Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, where you have a lot of pastors and preachers, and they be out there talking about, this new year, there's going to be XYZ that will happen, a lot of prophesying, and some of it is actually fake prophecies. So the Ghanaian police force put out this article, this statement rather, and in that statement, they it's kind of funny.
Right.
They're saying anybody who is found guilty for spreading misleading or false communications will be subject to 5 years, up to 5 years in jail. So it's kind of like a warning to all religious leaders and to pastors, basically, that any message that they got out or any prophecies that any communication of prophecies that communicates harm, that communicates danger or death, and in such a way, such that it creates tension and panic in the Ghanaian society, and if it puts the life of people in fear and danger. So when those pastors, they give this sermon or whatever, so people are afraid. They say this guy's going to die.
Right.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, the problem is that makes people start panicking and fearing. So the Ghanaian police is kind of ahead of this, and they put out the notice, like a statement actually a couple of days ago,
Right.
saying that if that happens, that the religious leader can be subject to jail up to 5 years.
If you ask me what I think about that, I think I think that's kind of funny that the Ghanaian police have to go to that extent to make sure their citizens and their people are safe and trying to keep them away from danger. But they are also going about it the wrong way, because all you got to do is talk to the public and explain to them that these prophecies are not true. It's impossible, and just give them your clear mind and keep them from doing unnecessary reactions and causing things that put them in danger. Of course, pastors, they're going to do what they think is right, but some of them are fake. Some of them just trying to make some gain or whatever their intention is. But I think putting them in jail for that is just wrong, because this guy's free speech and free ways of living. And if you're in a democratic society like Ghana is, then you shouldn't be doing that to your pastors or any of your citizens.
So I don't know if something like that will fly in Lagos though, or if something like that will fly in Nigeria, because
Of course, we fly in Nigeria. The Nigerian mentality, the policeman will come in your house and come in your house and take you to jail just because you think you're a witch. But this like that happens everywhere in Africa. But here in America, you gotta have proof. You gotta have a reason of that evidence and it's very hard for you to imprison someone because of freedom of speech because they're allowed to say anything that they want to. So you can't just do that to your citizens.
So what you're saying is that it infringes upon the freedom of speech or human rights or United Nations Convention of Human Rights. Basically, you can't say someone can't say anything.
Right, but there's a situation here in America when a teenager telling a boy to commit suicide through a text, and she had to pay for that. You know, he was texting that he's going to commit suicide, and she said, "Okay, if you really want to do it, then go ahead and do it." Remember that scenario?
Oh, yeah, I remember that story.
So sometimes the freedom of speech sometimes can take you.
But you have to go to court.
You had to go to court to prove it, and that's what she had to do to defend herself.
But in Lagos, where you don't have that functional court, I mean, how do you prove? Or in Ghana, for that matter, like
exactly.
In the story, how do you prove something like that? It might be tough to prove.
Right. So that's why I kind of find it funny, but I don't think the police should also jail the pastors.
Well, they're threatening to jail.
They're
not really jailing
5 years. Yes.
It's just a threat.
But they cannot do that because it's just freedom of speech employs their pastor. They're preaching to
the congregation,
their members, and they're letting them know what's going on. So if the members fall victim to it and love it, but that doesn't have to do with you trying to jail them up because of you think they're wrong. It's just that's religious. That's what they call it, freedom of religion.
Freedom of religion.
So
association.
If you pick a pastor and you believe what the pastor is saying, good for you. And if the pastor says jump off the cliff and you feel like, okay, yeah, he's saying the truth, then that's your fault. You see God when you get there. You see God when you get there.
So, along that same lines, though, like, what is the thing about Africans always, like, when it's New Year, they always have this big New Year service. People always like, oh my God, it's a new year. And they go to church to, give a lot of money, tithes and offering. Again, I'm not against people going to church or against people giving tithes and offering, whatever. But I'm just saying that here in the West, the world continues. Like, people don't really... Yeah, it's a new year. They have fireworks. You go to New York, Times Square. There's a ball dropping. But that's about it, right?
Right.
But in Africa, there's this thing where people kind of seem to have like a full reset.
Right.
Oh, my God, it's a brand new year. But my thing is that the New Year is just... It's significant, but not really that a big deal. At least the rest of the world.
Right. So what I'm thinking about that is like, the New Year is like a time that we all, sitting. It doesn't change from yesterday. It's still just evolving. So we all always evolving. So if a pastor says that things is about to change and this is going to happen, and if you believe it, it's fine. But if you don't, then you cannot go jail.
So you're saying it's all about belief. As long as people believe, if they want to believe that, they can believe that.
And the Bible also says that only God knows when the world is going to end. So if a pastor telling you he knows exactly when the world is going to end, he's lying to you. That's when you should have known. Okay, this pastor doesn't know what he's talking about, but they can tell you the time of day when the world is going to come to an end, when God is going to arrive. No one can tell you that. He says that in the Bible, if you even read the Bible correctly. So don't believe no nonsense of anything about the world is coming to an end or any New Year's revelation that this is about to happen. Do not believe that. Only God knows everything that's going to happen in your life, the next man's life, your kids' life, your family life. No man in this world that's breathing the same air that you're breathing can tell you the same thing that you should already know.
So I remember back in the day, they'd be like, oh, the year is going to end year 2000, or the world is going to end year 2000.
Right.
Or the world is going to end, but even back in the 95, remember when I was still in Nigeria?
Right.
So the world is going to end, and all that stuff, like, people believe in it, people sell their stuff. There's this Jason Oyigbo or Jason Agege.
I know that,
where prophets, like, at the end of the year, they start making all these new testimonies and new prophecies. So it's kind of interesting, though, like, even when it's 2021 going into 2022, it's 2022, we're recording this January 1, 2022.
Right.
But you have a lot of people also like still believing all that kind of stuff. So I'm not surprised that the Ghanaian government is making this move, but they have to do what they can to protect their citizens. And I don't blame them. I wish they had something like that in Nigeria.
But I wish I would have known what these Ghanaians pastors are really predicting. The Ghanaians, their pastors. I really want to know what are they saying to their fellow members.
It's the same. No? It's the same in Africa. I mean, basically, it's a new year. Because you're entering a new year. Some will even give you a word. Again, I'm not against those who do that. This year is going to be your year of flying eagles.
Of course.
Or this is going to be your year of supernatural abundance.
Yes.
But again, if you go back 10 years ago, was your year of supernatural abundance.
Yes, but you know what a pastor do? The pastor that does that, they only give you like a positive motivation.
Right, and I don't.
So
I
it's
think
like a
that's
motivation
good.
speech.
Yeah,
Those
I
are
think that's good. I like
but
that.
when you start going into the negative feedback about this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen,
is gonna die, that person's gonna die.
That you make it. You don't know that. No one's know when and how
God
someone's gonna die.
What did God give them revelation?
Yes, God says that in the Bible, but that's something about the Bible. Okay, they got someone that can review, that can interpret a dream, and can do that. But
that's a prophet.
That's a prophet.
Can prophesy. Yeah.
They can prophesy and other kind of things, and they can come into tuition.
Yeah.
But not everybody have that gift. Even God says that I don't think we all know who's gonna die. So someone tells you he's gonna die, all you gotta say, like in Nigeria, they'll say, so, because eventually you're gonna die. So if someone says you're gonna die, don't take that into like okay, it is part of life. We are gonna end up dying, but we all want to live to be 100 years old. Right. So once that hey, I got God. I need to get out of here. I can't clean my butt. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't move. So there's time to go. Well, when you get that age. But if a pastor giving some prophecies that doesn't make sense, that you're gonna lose your house and that you shouldn't be panic. You shouldn't panic. You're gonna the country is gonna blow up, or the wars. Don't be afraid. Don't go ahead and start going crazy and start doing things that's unnecessary, or putting your life in danger, or killing one another, or saying Taiwo is your problem while you're not doing good because the pastor said that to you. Leave Taiwo alone. Leave Taiwo alone. Do not do nothing to Taiwo. It's not Taiwo's fault that you're not exceeding in life. It's basically your fault. You need to go look in other direction and move on.
So the idea is that anything that will cause fear or alarm to the public or disturb the public peace, and if there's no evidence to prove that statement, or if there's any rumor, basically around that kind of thing, can get the pastor in trouble. But I kind of want to move on, because while we've established this, the next step is time really real, or is time an illusion? In other words, it's a new year. But January 1, 2022 is also another day.
Right.
Because it's still going to have 24 hours. The same way December 1, 2021 and November 1, 2021 had 24 hours. So my point is, what's the big deal? Like, it's a new year. And I'm asking this tongue in cheek, It is kind of a big deal, I get it. But also, if you remove the sentiment that we put around that day, it's really just another day.
Exactly. It's time is like it says in the illusions that we just all involved in. It's like we're living this kind of a bubble. We don't know if we're going backwards or forward. We men created time. Human beings created time. God did not create time.
Yeah, God is everlasting.
Everlasting.
God time. Yeah.
Everlasting.
Well, preacher.
Right. Right. So
some bombs here, yeah.
So time is how you say it. You wake up. This all God says is that the sun will rise and the sun will set, and so is our life. We will rise, wake up from our sleep, and we'll set and go to sleep every day for the rest of our life. So when you find a day that you go to sleep, that's what you do when you're sleeping. So if God says until judgment day, He's going to raise you up and bring you back to life, that means you just sleep eternally until God calls you back up.
So your point is time doesn't really
exist.
Time doesn't. I like that because my understanding is that time is something that we created based on the movements of the planets. Let me explain what I mean.
Go ahead.
So
I know where you're going with
you know
that
I'm going,
too.
yeah, that's good. So you have wow, I don't even need to speak like a prophet here. Already prophesying.
No, go ahead. Yeah, you prophesy. The Ghana police gonna come looking for you now.
Oh, they come looking for me.
So you have to be careful.
Hey, I'm a Lagosian. I'm not a Ghanaian.
Oh, good.
So it doesn't apply to me.
Lucky you, my brother. You just did lucky.
Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that the moon moves around the earth every 28 days.
Right.
So because the moon moves around the earth every 28 days, we have what they call the lunar calendar, or the lunar clock, if you would.
Right.
So basically, the Babylonians, the Egyptians, and the Greek people from the medieval, 2,000, 4,000, 5,000 years ago, whatever, they didn't have a, iPhone to tell you the clock. They just know the moon is rising, and based on that, they have the fact that, okay, every 28 days, the moon, the moon rises, or they see the moon every 28 days, the full moon.
Right.
Then also, that's the lunar. Then they also have one called the solar, I think is the right word, basically saying that the earth will spin around the sun. It takes 365 days. So that's where the year comes in. It's, when the earth is spinning around the sun, it's going to spin around by 365 days. It will start in the same spot it started 365 days ago.
Right.
Then you also have the 24 hours, whereby that's when the earth spins around its own axis. So that's how you have the three different concepts of time. We know, number one, the lunar, 28 days. We have the 365 days, and you have the 24 hours. So because of that, we can able to say, okay, this is an event that's happening to our planet. But it also helps us be able to tell, your birthday, the day of your graduation, the day that, somebody dies, unfortunately, whatever, and then the day you can mark different important events, or the day Buhari was elected, for example.
Right.
Go ahead.
Let me speak on that. Like you're saying, the day that others is like a scientific factor, and scientific factors created by who?
Oh, good. I like that. Scientific factors. I wouldn't call it scientific factor because I guess it's scientific.
It's like calculations.
It's more like geographical calculations,
right?
Based on the astrology.
Jeez, right?
Maybe astrology. I guess astrology is kind of science.
Yeah, it is.
So based on calculation of things moving around us, we seeing things. So the question is, I guess you're right. We created that.
So
that
man created
time.
time.
Yeah.
So time, like God does not deal in time.
No.
Okay, God does not have time. He doesn't have 2 o'clock.
It's timeless, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have 3 o'clock. He doesn't have a Monday. He doesn't have a Saturday. He doesn't have January, February, March. Yeah. God doesn't know anything about those or cares about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you saying God cares that it's New Year? So
no,
or God doesn't care that it's New Year? Because I think
there's a saying that I don't know where I come across this, but I think I read someone that's a day is like a year to a God. Like God, a year is a day. Yeah. So.
I think that might be from
yeah, I heard that. So we live in 24 hours. I don't know.
So the New Year celebration, somebody is here telling you this is the year you are going to buy a car because it's New Year. It's the year of your new car.
Right.
And then you go to church, you do New Year celebration, your prophet, again back to Ghanaian police statement. The prophet tells you it's your year you buy a car. But what you're saying is that God doesn't know that New Year's year you buy your car. God doesn't care either.
That, right.
God already promised you a car.
That's
particular point in time, if you would. So in other words, the pastor is just speaking it into being, or maybe the pastor is just prophesying, I don't know.
Right. And since the year is a day to a God.
The year is a day to God, yeah.
So if a pastor is saying a year, so
who knows what God?
Who knows what God's our plan for you?
But if time is an illusion, like we're saying, if time is an illusion, the idea being that everything may be predetermined. Some people kind of say, well, everything is fixed already.
Right.
Because from beginning to end, God knows. And God knows the days of our lives are numbered. God knows everything already. So we're just going through that motion. We're going through that time to live through that.
But I was having a conversation with you earlier on. I think, to me, my understanding is what you do today that affects you tomorrow. Because it's what you put in your system that affects you tomorrow. It's like, okay, for instance, if you went to go buy a grenade and you store it in your house, that's like an ignite and blow you up in pieces.
Yeah,
so
like
I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah.
So if you want to go buy something, or you took a medication that you shouldn't take, or you do a drug that you shouldn't do, that's shutting your life,
span. Yeah.
So you know that you putting yourself in a danger zone, or things can happen to you, or a doctor that prescribe you a medication that can make you overdose, but without knowing how your chemistry body works,
The impact.
and it's not your fault. Just like we lost Prince, the musician, because he overdosed of prescribed medication by the doctor. So
And
things
Michael
can happen.
Jackson too, I mean.
Michael Jackson too.
Yeah,
Situation was a total disaster.
Yeah.
Because but that situation is that he couldn't get some sleep, so he needed help to get some sleep. So he requested things, but the doctor become negligent, but just not paying attention to him. So things like that do happen in life, that even God Himself, how much how powerful He is, can control. But sometimes you make a decision that God Himself cannot even. I'm not saying God can control it, because He can. He can just But I'm just saying that you make a decision that you did all the time. You're so used to it. You're addicted to that decision that you're making, and you become part of you. But you know that decision can come to consequences. That everything we do, like we drink shayo, we drink alcohol. You can mess with your liver. If you got addicted to that, you drink it every day. Your liver gonna go for you. Your liver gonna give up for you.
So if a pastor is telling you a prophecy, there are certain things you also have to do.
Yes.
If you don't do those things, the prophecy may not come to pass.
Through. But basically, he's just telling you a dream. It's something that you should already know. That's what you say.
Because there's always a
condition.
Most of the pastors say, as long as you obey the word of God, as long as you do this.
Yes.
So it's kind of, in a way, if I already know the Bible and already have that, why do I need to go to a watch night service for the new year and have the pastor tell me that?
A pastor, sometimes, like, if you met someone, you can see the potential of the person. You can tap into that.
That's right.
And wake him, and that's what the pastor does.
You can ginger the person.
Ginger the person and wake him up that, hey, you got this, you got this. It's like a motivational speaker. So a pastor can do that to you, and sometimes you're good to go hear the word of God, because sometimes you need that to
help you into this new year, which is maybe an illusion, but it's also something that we all recognize in this world, I guess. Right. The other thing I want to make is that there are different types of calendar. There's the Gregorian calendar, which is one we're on.
The Chinese
there's also
calendar.
there's the Chinese calendar. There's the Hebrew calendar. So when some churches or some sectors or some religious people make this January 1st like a big deal, they need to also realize that there are other parts of the world that don't necessarily follow that calendar. In fact, it wasn't until the 18th century when everybody got on the Gregorian calendar, whereby all the dates are aligned. It used to be back in the day that sometimes, like, Europe is like 7 days behind, and then Europe is 7 days behind, and then England is like England is 10 days ahead. Then, like, other parts of the world, they have their own different time. Because what happened was, with that 28 days calendar, some people said it's 28 days to make a month.
Yes.
But now, remember, there are 30 days and 31 days. Then some days are 31 days, some days are 31 days. Because the Roman Empire said the even days are like bad luck days, so they made them shorter, then something like that. Then the odd days are 31 days. Then the leap year, because the Earth, the Earth goes around the sun 365.25.
Right.
So you need 4 to add up. So it's kind of a weird system, whereby even back in the Roman Empire days, the king used to pick, because normally they were just usually there were 10 months in a year. That's when we look at December, Dec 10, September. So it had like some of the months, they're actually after the numbers. There used to be 10 months in a year. The other 2 months were like floating months, whereby the king had to pick, basically, because at first there were only 28 days. They were going by 20 because of the moon. But the king had to pick the other 2 months, however I want it to be. And it messed up all the farmers. They also messed up all the seasons. So at the end of the day, it's all man-made, I guess, to your point. That's when it's all man-made. And the pastor can as well be preaching a message on December 1 about New Year.
Yeah.
As much as he's preaching January 1.
First, yes.
Yeah, so it's just a mindset. But I like what you said. What you said is basically that ultimately it's just to motivate you, to uplift your spirits,
right,
and to bring you into the new year.
Yeah, bring it to you.
Hypothetically speaking.
Yeah, there's some people that can speak to you to bring into your own self and bring into your intuitions. There's some of us are just lagging behind you, but you need that push. Sometimes, like, you need that push from your dad. You need that push from your mom. Sometimes we'll do things to get an appraiser, like to get appraised from our parents. Says, okay, daddy, I'm doing this, and daddy, I'm doing that. So we do that push, and sometimes we do things and we hide things, so our parents can't see what we are doing. You know, because we know it's bad. But you need that motivation. Like some of us don't have that motivation. Some of us don't have that parents that have that mom, the dad, their brother, so we're just living the life.
Yeah. So as we're wrapping down, I mean, I think the encouragement for folks, I mean, I guess what I have to say is that people just need to, you know, if you're in a place where you're the pastor or your religious leader or whatever, and they're trying to stoke fear in you or they're giving you a negative prophecy, you have to know your word or the Bible or whatever spiritual creed you follow and try to dig in it yourself, because religion is actually meant to lift you up, and to give you hope, not necessarily to bring you down. Yeah.
That's why they say you got to read the Bible. The pastor you're listening to just read the Bible just like you do.
That's right.
He knows the Bible, he knows his word, and you know.
That's right.
But it's the only thing church is like a community. Just come together and embrace one another and talk about the Lord. That's what church is. So
and that's what church should be.
Yeah, and in the church, you need everything that you do in life. You need a leader, you need a head, you need one that can, you know, keep everything together in place. So that's when the pastor comes in. So now you don't over look into your pastors as much, because he's just a human being just like you are. So he's going to tell you what he thinks and what he feels. Okay, so a pastor's going to tell you, okay, I feel like, hey, the war going to come to here tomorrow in 10 seconds. And then you sitting there, it's past 10 seconds and nothing happens. You tell me, I say, oh, God, pastor, hey, slow down. You know.
No, that's perfect. So as we wrap up, I think, you know, for our listeners, you know, we just want to wish you guys a happy new year and a prosperous new year. And we also hope that, you know, the Ghanaian police should probably allow people to be free and have religious preachers and pastors be able to, you know, do whatever their calling is.
Yes. You never know, they might be right one day and see the world behind today, and it just happens.
That's right. That's right. So, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for supporting the show. If you have any questions, send an email to lostnegotiations@gmail.com. We'll catch you in the next one. And
Peace out.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye.